Hello, friends. Now it's August 2026 and former Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki and his newly formed movement, Pink Plus, have presented a project with the resounding title "The Safest State in the World." Let's now analyze this project, what it means for foreigners, including Ukrainians, and what it's all for. That's it. Watch until the end, we'll figure everything out. Please give a like and subscribe to the channel. Friends, huge thanks to everyone who doesn't hesitate. Simple actions take just 2 seconds. A like to support aerodynamics, to support the working class. So, let's figure it out. When you read such manifestos, the first feeling is a kind of muted excitement mixed with confusion. That's what I personally felt. Because what we have here is not just a political program, but a rare example of such deception. A monkey simulator where logic, governance, and basic knowledge of human nature are sacrificed to campaign consultant reflexes. Well, let's split our video into 3 parts. First of all, let's start with why Mateusz took the podium, right? The historical context and the overall party dynamics. To understand why the former banker Morawiecki, and by the way, the former head of government, needed this deportation scare campaign, the Ministry of Assimilation party had already come up with the idea to deport. You just need to look at the party map of Poland. And the Pink Plus, this newly emerged movement, it's not about some kind of deep ideological evolution, it's the child of a plain old political con. Morawiecki broke his ties with PiS, with Kaczynski. The old party establishment pushed out, let's say, the technocrat Morawiecki. And so Mr. Mateusz found himself out in the political cold. He still has about 30 or 40 loyal deputies. There's still a year until the next parliamentary elections, but the new movement's poll numbers need to be built up, as they say, as if it should have been done yesterday. And where can the former prime minister go if on the left there's the Tusk government and the civic coalition firmly in place, and on the right there's PS and the ultra-right confederation? He decided not to overthink it and to take the path of least resistance, to fight for the right-wing, deeply frightened electorate. How many of these voters are there, you might ask, right? Because we always talk about, well, elections, those who choose the provinces and so on, that is the right-wing electorate. And in modern Poland, the ultra-conservative, anti-migrant nationalist segment is about 20 to 30% of all voters. Who are the voters? These are the voters of the Confederation, the radical wing of PS, and those traditionalists who are undecided. To take at least 5 to 8% from the brothers, but this is necessary to overcome the barrier and get into the Sech. You need to show that you are tougher, that you are further to the right than anyone else, that you are the most uncompromising, and that you will call for deportations louder than anyone else. And here, the vicious circle of right-wing populism kicks in. If your competitors talk about strict border control, you have to demand the creation of a special punitive ministry. If they talk about integration, you have to make demands. Total and harsh assimilation, otherwise, damn it, we'll deport you immediately. So, the tougher, the better. Well, let's actually break down the concept here. Let's look at some specific examples. Pink Plus. First, the Deportation Service, an individual migrant account. The authors propose creating a Polish equivalent of the American ICE. That's Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Sorry for my English. In short, to assign each foreigner an individual account where all data will be collected, taxes, violations, and so on. Question. So what are the border guards doing now? I mean, the Border Patrol Police, the Department for Combating Foreigners. Poland already has a developed state system, so creating another agency. The Ministry of Migration and Assimilation. This is just multiplying bureaucracy for no reason. Any bureaucratic apparatus tends to reproduce itself. The new ministry will require thousands of officials, new buildings, service vehicles, and, of course, budgets from our taxes. At the same time, its functions will completely duplicate those of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. As the current head of the Ministry of Internal Affairs, Marcin Kierwiński, rightly and sarcastically noted, all of this is pure populism. A man who was prime minister for several years and at one time allowed the chaotic influx of migrants. Remember, we've even talked about this more than once. This is the visa scandal. He suddenly allowed all of this. Yeah, and now he's suddenly all fired up. Damn, what is this? We need to restore order. The second point I think we need to discuss is total and unconditional assimilation. Morawiecki flat out declares, no multicultural models, only the strictest assimilation. A foreigner is required to learn the language, Polish and European culture, otherwise they will be deported. Well, what else should be done with these foreigners? Sorry, I just have a question. Nothing personal. I'm not criticizing, just asking, how do you technically plan to check the knowledge of European culture in, say, a construction worker from India? Or a computer specialist from Belarus? Will a police officer stop someone on the street and then what? Demand that they recite by heart a passage from Pantadeusz by Adam Mickiewicz? Or what? Or name the date of the Battle of Grunwald? And if a foreigner gets confused about the chronology of the Jagiellonian dynasty, then what? Is that it? Immediate deportation with a black mark? And what is the because why do we create the deportation service? So that people like that, who don't know the date of the Battle of Grunwald, can be immediately sent to the front. In short, it's a ready-made script for some kind of dystopian tragicomedy. Limit. Next point. Limit of 35 to 50,000 work visas per year at an economic paradox. The Polish economy, yes, is experiencing a catastrophic shortage of labor. Construction, logistics, agriculture, retail, the service sector, all of this relies on millions, 2 million foreign workers, including depends on them. Limiting the issuance of visas for countries outside the European Union to 50,000 per year means putting Polish business into an artificial coma. Well, maybe not a coma, but very close to it.
To compensate for this gap, Pink Plus, what do you think they did?
They proposed bringing Poles back from emigration, fuck off back home, with a 50% discount on PIT. That's income tax for the first 5 years. But let's say, for example, someone living in the UK, Germany, or the Netherlands, and they don't live there because of the tax difference. They live there because of the standard of living, infrastructure, stability, social security, and salary. And the idea that millions of Polish migrants who have settled in the West will drop everything and rush back for the sake of a temporary tax discount. That's pure economic romanticism, which has nothing to do with reality.
The third point.
Competitions for the dumbest postmodernist project. Let's call it that. This is just a total circus of absurdity. When politics turns into total show business and a hunt for the votes of the far right, logic completely gives way to an auction of madness. Because the one who wins will be the one, seriously, I'm saying this without any jokes, without sarcasm. In the elections among the far right, the one who will win is the one who comes up with an idea. Okay, maybe win is too strong a word, right? The one who will get the most votes is the one who comes up with an idea so absurd
that it will be impossible not to discuss it.
There you go. Just for fun, let me throw some fuel on the fire. I'll throw out some ideas. For Mr. Morawiecki and his associates, why stop at just these deportation alerts? Let's do something else. Let's introduce color coding. Mandatory armbands on the sleeves. Remember that wonderful idea they had in Germany in the 1930s? Yes, let's put on armbands to guarantee absolute safety. After all, it's all about safety for him. Let's make all foreigners who are here temporarily wear bright yellow armbands. Wait, why yellow? Yellow, light green. That means his Polish is at level A1. Yellow, that means he passed the exam on 16th century history. Red, forgot who that girl is. Kościuszko. That means he needs to be deported in 15 minutes. This is just to make the work of the deportation services easier. Let's do a workplace audit every day, before starting, before the shift at the construction site or somewhere in the office. Couriers, edge couriers on the street, and we'll all take the exam.
Go ahead, 3 poems by Juliusz Słowacki. Huh? What? No, you don't know? That's it. Press the red button and get out. The police van will come and you'll go to the front.
Those who come to Poland absolutely must take anthem test at the border. When entering, a foreigner, doesn't matter if they're Czech, Ukrainian, whatever, you have to get out on the platform. Sing the Dąbrowski's Mazurka. If you sing it badly or mess up the words, that's it. Go back. And not with a ticket, but on foot along the tracks.
Sounds like nonsense, right, friends? Yes, I just made it up. Absolutely.
But how are these ideas fundamentally different from the proposal to expel people from the country for not being sufficiently immersed in European culture?
Fuck.
Oh, sorry. I hope my parents aren't watching. There's no difference. These are just products of the same intellectual assembly line where political expediency has completely trampled common sense. So, friends, here's the conclusion. In the end, what we have is a classic political manipulation. The politicians from Pink Plus have been left out of the key party structures and are desperately searching for their own niche. They are trying to sell fear to Polish society, wrapped up in fancy packaging, technological control, individual accounts, security service. They say, we're doing all this for you, because the whole threat about migrants is just an attempt to play on the simplest, most basic instincts of the electorate. But the paradox is that by building state policy on populism and absurdity, it's impossible to create the safest country in the world. All you can build is a bureaucratic monster that will devour budget funds and destroy economic ties. And in the end, it will be a laughingstock, not only for the opposition, but also for its own citizens. That's the sad analysis, my friends. So, thank you very much for your attention. Today we have Ugu. It's already the 20th of August. So, friends, I want to send greetings to the workshop workers, tattoo artists, industrial climbers, entrepreneurs, and roofers. That's it. If I didn't mention your profession, I'm sorry, and write in the comments who needs a shout-out. We'll definitely do it at the end of the next video. Friends, thank you so much for your attention. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Leave likes and write comments. Share this video, yes, because I have way too little room. We'll see, well, what can you do? That's all for now. See you next time. Bye.